Well, hello. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? You know, yeah. For the high school, the last concert we had in person was in December of 2019. And so to be able to present this concert tonight with all of you here, I mean, it's just, I can't, I told, on Monday, I told the other students who were playing on the Monday night concert, I'm so excited, I'm gonna spontaneously combust on stage. So there might just be a black poof of smoke here at some point. But really, we really appreciate you all coming tonight. I mean, we were gonna do the whole outdoor experience in the tent, but the weather was not on our side today. But thankfully, we could still do this in the PAC with a small group, in a small audience, and we're just so appreciative of you, and just, I'm so appreciative of all of you too for how hard you've worked, because they really put the work in, even when we were virtual. They would not have been able to, they would not have sounded that good if they had not been practicing at home. And you know, when you're playing for the camera, you know, and I'm the only one that has the sound on, and I see their bows moving, and I'm like, I have no idea what this sounds like. It looks like they're moving their bows at the right time. But yeah, to be able to make music in person, I mean, that is really why we do what we do. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to start off by saying thank you, and thank you. All right, so our next song we're gonna do is Dream On. You might know that one. It's been around for a while. But we're gonna add some drum set and some electric keyboards in the back. And then we'll go right into our last song, which again, you might recognize, a little Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. So enjoy. to recognize Alex Hornbacher for his awesome drumming skills, as well as Gavin Rhodes on keys and Riley Clark on electric guitar. It really adds to the arrangement when you can have a rhythm section, so it's awesome to have them playing some secondary instruments tonight as well. All right, well now it's time for recognition, the first round of recognition. There's going to be a whole lot of recognition tonight. But the first round of recognition of the class of 2020. And yes. Today, and I had a little piece of Dove chocolate. The saying on the inside said, "After every storm, there's a rainbow, no matter how long it takes to show up." That literally was in my lunchbox today. And so I'm hoping that this, even though it's raining outside, that this is your rainbow, right? This class, you know, they missed out on so many of those culminating events, right, that bring closure to your high school career, whether that was prom, our last concert, graduation. You know, nothing looked like it usually did, you know, last year. And so when Ms. Burns and I started talking about doing a final concert, and it was looking like we're actually going to be able to do a concert in person. And at first, you know, we thought it was just going to be outside, and people were sitting in the parking lot, which is how it happened on Monday night. We didn't know that we were going to be able to do this when we started planning in February. And so recognizing that how important closure is and having that time to like just embrace all the stuff that you did, your high school career. Well, I can't look at them. It's not gonna be good. But yeah, just recognizing all those things and all those memories that we had together in the orchestra room and in small group, you know, we really wanted to have that moment with you, and that we can, for me too, and I know for Ms. Burns, that is the rainbow tonight, even though it took a year in the making. So we agreed to read every student's name, even if they were not able to be here tonight. So Sophie Aikman, she's only in the UK. I mean, come on, couldn't she fly home for this? But the first senior we're going to recognize from the class of 2020 is Sophie Aikman, violinist who was in orchestra for 4 years. Her most memorable orchestra moment, I love this, whenever somehow Jordan ended up conducting the class. He actually is really good. He's really good. So and the other thing, I do hope that you did scan the QR codes, because this program, if I would have printed it, would have been over 20 pages long. But if you want to read word for word what these students wrote, and also the class of 2021 wrote, you can see all of that on that QR code. It'll take you right to the PDF. So we're just going to read short snippets, things that stood out to us. But Sophie, I really appreciated what she said in the first thing. What has being an orchestra meant to you? And she said, orchestra was always a place where I felt connected and united. It dissolved social groups and allowed people to be themselves. A beautiful environment filled with laughter and joy, something I've never experienced elsewhere. I feel so lucky to have become close with people I may not have otherwise spoken to. And then her last sentence says, it's the sort of magical experience that I think only music can bring. So thank you, Sophie, wherever you are. Is Blake here?
Yes.
Yes, step forward, Blake. He's one of the 3 musketeers from this class. And if you are the parents, you know who they are. No, I love you guys. You guys always it was a combination of joy and frustration all at the same time. But his most memorable orchestra moment was when he played This Land Is My Land. That is actually the name of the song. When I first read it, I was like, no, This Land Is Your Land. Nope, not the song. Video game, correct?
What?
That's what it says on the sheet.
Well, no, I think we did play This Land Is Your Land, maybe, but I just said the name wrong.
And I looked it up. That's awesome. Thank you for that. See, still joy, frustration, all at the same time. Yes, and I love this, and not only because you said it, but actually quite a few students put somewhere in their reflection that being in orchestra was a stress reliever. And I think that is awesome. I don't know if it's a stress reliever for Miss Burns and I, but I'm so glad. I mean, I love making music with you guys every day, so for me that was just a pleasure. But I think there's so much pressure on students these days, and you know, anxiety is through the roof. And so to have a place where you could come and be with people and make music together and feel that stress of the day go away is huge. And then I love his advice for underclassmen. Respond to Ms. Kabish's emails. Yes. So, thank you, Blake. All right, Isaac Bentz. Wow, I'm going to do my best to keep this somewhat succinct. Isaac, I've known Isaac. He was in not only the school orchestra here, but also in Weisso with me in the Philharmonia Orchestra. And he was in music composition, and got to really know Isaac really well. And just such a nice human being. Like, just a pleasure to talk to. Always works super hard, plays the bass really well, which good bass players are worth their weight in gold. So, yeah, just a really fine... What?
I'm just kidding.
Gold is still very valuable. So. Yeah. All right. So, he talked a lot here about thanking his parents for all of the support, and he thanks Ms. Burns and I for, I love this. Well, actually, I'm gonna read this because I think this is great. He says, I'm not sure how Ms. Burns manages it, but every single time I talk to her, she always had a bright smile on with some sort of magic in her eyes. She manages to keep a positive attitude, even surrounded by moody teenagers all day. Yes, I agree, yes. But so thank you for all of your hard work and your musical contributions. He was like the bass player in the pit orchestra for all 4 years, right? Yeah. Which, to some of the other bass players, they're like, but I want to turn. Sorry, you gotta wait till Isaac graduates. So, but thank you, Isaac, for all you did for the orchestra program here. All right, one more for me, Corinne Boyd. Oh, yes. So my most memorable moment of Corinne was when I asked her to be in the pit orchestra. And I think she was too afraid to tell me no. It was her senior year, and she hadn't done the pit orchestra before, and we needed more violins, and I was like, I totally know Corinne can handle this. And so I asked her, and she said yes, but then it turned out to be a beautiful experience for you. And she wrote this awesome letter to the parent group about her experience in the pit orchestra and how much she grew both as a musician and as a person. And I thought that was great, you know. I'm so glad that you were open to try that experience, even though you were afraid. There's so many things in life that we are afraid to try, and so we just don't even try. But then if you are courageous enough to give it a try, then some of those end up being some of the most beautiful and impacting moments. So I applaud you for that. That's awesome. Yes. And then I did want to just say this too. She says her advice for underclassmen. Oh, no, that was not. This was what I wanted to say. This, yes. I always get very entertained. It's like, when I read these, it's like entertained and crying at the same time. But her most memorable orchestra moment, this is what I wanted to say, yeah. So Bella and Sophie were in a practice room, and there was this exercise ball. I should say, Miss Yancey and I used to sit on exercise balls at our desk, so it was good for your core and support, whatever. But anyway, there was an exercise ball in the practice room, and Bella kicked it, apparently. And she kicked it into the ceiling, and the ceiling broke. I did not know this. Confessional time. And then we were all laughing super hard when Miss Kavish came in and said, "Who's cackling like the Wicked Witch of the West?" And it was Bella. So I'm glad you guys had such a good time in the practice room. Thank you, Corinne.
Well, I get to start with the second of the Three Musketeers, Jack Fitzgerald. There he is. So, yeah, I have to say the Three Musketeers, they were so much fun in small group, especially when they were preparing for solo and ensemble, and I never thought they would do it. Like, every year I was like, maybe this year they're going to do it. And they did. Like, it was amazing. So, yeah, so Jack is right now at UW-Platteville and working on mechanical engineering and electrical. So sorry, electrical. And I have to say, if his advice is to go there after a year, it must be good. I'm glad that you're having a good time. I love that your favorite conductor is Gustavo Dudamel. Jude, right? You can say no to that conductor. He's amazing. So, I think one of the things I love the most about what you wrote here is that you said that you love starting your day with orchestra first period, and it gave you a reason to wake up every day. And I thought, wow, that's really amazing. So, yay, bravo to you, Jack. So the next two people aren't here today, but I do want to say their names. Jamie Fogel on violin and Piper Frieders on violin. And I just have to say both of those wonderful individuals were just incredible to work with. And I can think of one story with Piper. I remember we did this music circus, and I had no idea what to expect. Everyone was supposed to create their own space. And she kept talking about different things. Like she would say, "Is it okay if I bring this block of wood in?" Block of wood? What's going on? And she turned this she made this like huge Disney display, which I can't describe in words right now, but it was absolutely phenomenal. So whenever I see Piper's name, I instantly think of that. Annika, speaking of amazing music circus displays, who made a tent, you want to come on up? Who made a tent that she played in. They did bass and cello duos in that tent. So I love that you love Henry Mancini and 80s music, so that's great. So I have to say Annika's not on here, but Annika, when I think of Annika, I always think of creativity. She definitely is one of those people who really grabs onto any project that is very, very mysterious. So, but I love this. She talks about music is the language of the soul. It communicates where words fail. And again, excellent way to de-stress and get prepared for the rest of the school day. It clears the mind, focuses it, and I usually did well on tests after orchestra, and slightly worse on those before this class. So, but I think your advice to underclassmen is good advice, and that is learn discernment. Learn which of the friends will be a positive influence and keep them. Learn to tell between which sources of advice you should listen to and those you should ignore. Your own thoughts and ideas are important, but never more important than the sum of those who have gone ahead of you. A smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. Bravo to you. And then last but not least was Alex Johnson, and he is not here today, or is he in the audience? No, okay. He's an amazing person too. I will Alex. And when I think of Alex, I think of Ben.
Yes.
Those two were the dynamic duo cello stand. And
Absolutely.
that's all I'll say about that.
Who love to over-rosin their bows. That's awesome, yeah. All right, good. Katie Lampman. Katie, it's been a pleasure working with you all 4 years. She is a trooper, solid musician. I could say so many nice things of you, but I'm so distracted by your most memorable orchestra moment. Eating a mystery box of chocolates that we found in a drawer in our hotel room while on a trip to Chicago. As a parent, that concerns me. Was it worth it? Oh, great. Okay, good. Well, it must have been good chocolates. That's awesome. I love, too, how you say that being an orchestra meant having a constant family. And when we were, like in the choir room just a few minutes before the concert, I mean, we were all like, oh, it was like a family reunion, getting back together. And so I feel the same way about your class. One that I always got to start my day with the most uplifting way, by making music together. I totally agree. I do love her advice for underclassmen as well. I'm going to give some general life advice, not only for underclassmen, but also for the current seniors. It is okay to take a break and figure things out. Even if you think you know your major, you will end up changing your mind and trying a million different things before you land on what you are meant to do. Take your time, focus on yourself. You don't have to have everything figured out right now, or even in the next 5 years. That's the conclusion I've come to, and I'm thriving in this mindset, and I'm so glad. All right, Bella Lindert, come on forward. So who are the orchestra dorks?
What?
Yeah, who are the orchestra dorks?
Oh, yeah, org dorks.
Org dorks. Corinne and Jordan. Okay, cool. Because she loved working on group projects with them. It's awesome. It's awesome. She too says that orchestra has always been a way to escape the stress from other classes for an hour, to make music and connections with my classmates. And if I can say something on a personal note, she is a solid musician. I wish you believed that about yourself, because I felt like I was always saying, Bella, you can do this. And she has a beautiful tone and really good rhythm and very musical. And so I'm glad I get to say that publicly. She's a fine musician. And so I appreciate all your contributions to orchestra. I do love her advice for underclassmen. Maybe Alex should have taken this one. Be on time. He was on time tonight, so that was awesome. Yes, thank you. You took it for tonight.
I woke up early today.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it was like 2 p.m.
But she says, be on time and don't take things too seriously. Orchestra is really what you make of it, and that's so true. Thank you so much, Bella. All right, Nora McGinty, is she here? I thought she was going to come. Maybe not. You're here? Come on down. Yes! Come on up. Yeah. There she is. Yeah, now come. There we go. Yes, good. Yeah, all of you all have to come out front and stand and be talked about. So she says, thank you, Mom and Dad, for the encouragement and support over the years in orchestra. Ms. Burns and Ms. Kavish, thank you for teaching me so much about music and pushing your students to be creative. I loved orchestra, and I hope you continue to have as much fun teaching as I had learning. So thank you so much, Nora, for all of your contributions to orchestra as well. And Sam Mickelson. Hello. Poor Sam got her, well, we have 2 people here who have gotten their wisdom teeth out this week. So her original plan was going to be to play along, but still not quite ready yet to hold the violin up. But Sam, it was always such a pleasure to have you in class. She was such a quiet leader, but people followed. You know, like she sat down, she played, she knew her stuff, and people were like, oh, okay, I'll follow you. You know? But she was great. And another one too, who maybe didn't know how well they were playing, but I'm telling you now publicly, like, you are a fine musician, solid, and you played in the pit orchestra and just all the things you did. And concertmaster, there was a couple times I asked her to be concertmaster, and she's like, okay. But again, doing it, having the courage, right, to do something afraid, and you did it, and you did it beautifully. So thank you so much.
Okay, let's go on to Miranda. Miranda Moore, yay. So, I have to start with your most memorable orchestra moment, because I can totally, this is so Miranda, like these are things that you love, right, you know, and that is playing Just Dance and watching 2 set violin videos while waiting to play for seniors honors high and playing too. So fun, and that is so fun. When I first met Miranda, I was always talking about the ballet with her because we both share the Nutcracker downtown in common. And I'll never forget, it got to the point where people in the pit orchestra were like, no, Miranda hasn't come over to say hi yet. And Miranda is attending Oklahoma City University with a BFA in acting right now. So lovely. I love this. What has being in orchestra meant to you? Everything. It's what kept me going. It provided me comfort and support when I didn't feel it anywhere else. I will always be grateful for the experiences of high school music. So, yeah, that's amazing. And I love this too, your advice. Do what makes you happy, not what others expect of you. Claim yourself. That is, as an artist, I really relate to that. That's amazing. So, thank you so much for that. And now, Kaya Reve. I would have to say that Kaya is such a fun cellist, and she is beginning her journey right now. She took a gap year, and now she's going to start at MATC, and she's thinking of becoming a string educator. And I have to say, I saw such wonderful potential for that in the 4 years that she was here. She was always helpful, always trying to figure out things. She'd always be in the small group room with questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? And conducting and studying secondary instruments. So that doesn't surprise me that that's where you're heading, which is incredible. So I love what orchestra has meant to you. Orchestra was always a place I could feel comfortable to be myself. Somewhere where my stress evaporated and I could make music, which has always been meditative for me. Being able to be in multiple orchestra classes at a time was really fun. Learning all of the string instruments, learning to conduct, and trying to teach pieces for the now junior class was an experience I'm super thankful for and taught me a lot of valuable things that I'll use going into college for music education. I feel like my class has grown a lot throughout high school, and our playing ability has grown a lot too. I'm really grateful to have been invited to this last concert and to play one more time, since our senior year was a huge change towards the end. Bravo, Kaya. And I'm looking forward when you call me when you get your first teaching job, okay? There's another dynamic duo there. Jordan and Hanya had small group together. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So I love this because it brought back memories. most memorable orchestra moment. Honestly, I don't know if I'm remembering this right, but it was when Sam Krieger would fall asleep in class. That was true. I do remember that. But this was interesting too. I thought this was really great. You're moving to Colorado. Wow, that's fantastic. And I love how you said here that the place you want to go to is Colorado, but as soon as she goes there, it's going to be Wisconsin. That's perfect, especially for her parents, right? So, all right. I want to say I love the advice that you gave to everyone, and that is play your little heart away and enjoy orchestra while you have a class to play songs with. And that was really wonderful. And you can call me because I have friends in Colorado who play in community orchestras to sing. So bravo. Wonderful. And then we have Al Romanin. Okay, now I have to say, after last year, Al decided to go to Edgewood College, and I teach there part-time. And so at every seminar, I would just be looking for her name on the boxes every single time. And there was one seminar that we both attended together, so that was pretty fun. So, all right. So, I love this. Most memorable orchestra moment, playing Vivaldi's Gloria with the choir. That was really wonderful. And right now at Edgewood, you're double majoring in chemistry and physics, and also is really involved in theater. So that's absolutely terrific. So I just love this orchestra advice as well. Come to orchestra to play and have fun. Even if you don't play after high school, it doesn't mean your instrument isn't still a part of you. I love that. That's amazing. And last but not least is Michaela Oscar. So I have to tell this one story. When I first met Michaela, this is embarrassing teacher story, sorry, it's going to happen. And Michaela is always kind of, I'd say you're a pretty easygoing person, and you're really kind. And so I met her before she played viola in homeroom, and for some reason, I thought her name was Michaela. I'm so glad I brought this up, because she never corrected me for a very, very long time. And so finally, someone said her name correctly. Michaela? Of course, Michaela. What was it? Michaela. So, anyway. And I also have to say, she was the toughest house to find, or farm to find, when I was dropping off instruments last March. In fact, I was on my way to Blanchardville on Wednesday, and as we went past her farm, I said to my husband, yeah, I was around this area for about 45 minutes about a year ago, trying to find this farm. So, all right. But I love this. Your favorite composer is Sarasate. Fast and fancy, and that's right. I mean, he's fiery composer. And I love the fact that the place that you're most likely to visit is going to be the Teton National Park. That's amazing. So, I also want to say that I love what you said to your parents and to both me and Ms. Cabbage. Thanks to both of you for the opportunity to grow and explore the world through a different lens. And I think that's so important because you came to viola in high school and sophomore year. Yeah, and that's incredible, and you did such a beautiful job. And I think that's something a lot of people can learn from, is that don't be afraid when something interests you. It doesn't matter when you start, it's just starting. So,
Balthazar, come here. The other one who got wisdom teeth pulled this week. So sad. I really appreciated your effort and your hard work. Brianna, like, she just was a go-getter in everything that she did, whether it was running or orchestra or other academic classes. Like, she just was always pushing herself and seemed to always take it in stride. Pun intended. The running people got that joke, yes. But yeah, so I really appreciated her too. I asked her, will you be concertmaster? Will you play in the pit orchestra? And yeah, she did it, and she sat down and played, and she always knew her music and always played with confidence. Another like quiet leader. So thank you for all you did and just being willing to do things again, even though they might have been a little out of your comfort zone. So thank you, Brianna. Oh, Ben Schaefer. Come on, Bo. So I'm not going to read off of here. I have to share a personal story while not looking. But it was it your sophomore year when I was diagnosed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really difficult for me because having cancer, it's not something that you want to talk about, you know, and it took me a long time to kind of accept that being in the position that I'm in, missing weeks of school, and YSO as well, the youth orchestra, like, families had to know, you know. And so it was really hard for me to, like, talk about it. But Ben, I mean, every morning when I was going through treatment, when I came back after surgery, every morning he was like, "Good morning, Miss Kavish," big smile on his face, "Good morning, Miss Kavish," and often wore pink. Even if it was like just the writing in his shirt, he'd be like, "Pink," you know. And I can't tell you how much that meant to me. And for a young man who was a sophomore in high school to like have the maturity to do that. And there were some days, I'll tell you, when I was going through treatment, it was really hard to come to school. And not because I didn't want to be with you guys, but just because of what I was going through, you know? And so I just wanted to publicly say, thank you for supporting me. It might not have seemed like a big thing, but just you saying good morning and wearing pink, I can't tell you how much I appreciated it, so thank you. His favorite style of music is Guns N' Roses, so this concert is great for you tonight. And him too, like he says, being in orchestra helped me calm down throughout the day, and he enjoyed learning how to compose music. And I think that too, that playing an instrument just opens the door, right, for other opportunities that you might not have known, like that you like to compose, and then you did, you know, you found that thing. So I think that's great. And of course, do your work, listen to Miss Kavish. She knows what she's talking about. Okay, now you're just brown nosing now. But thank you, Ben. All right, and Clarice Vicente, she's not able to be with us. She moved back to California with her family. But she too was a solid little viola player, and her sister played cello and graduated the year before, so we wish her well. And the last one for this class, I'm just going to say one more thing before, suspense, right? I do want to say to all of you, make sure that you grab a gift bag on your way back to the choir room, because in that gift bag is a leather keychain that on one side says OHS Orchestra, and on the other side has the GPS coordinates of the orchestra room. Yeah, so please make sure that you take one of those with you. And there's some chocolate in there too. That's how I got the Dove chocolate earlier. All right. Jordan Zaholka. Yeah. I love what you said about, first I'll say this, that you said your most memorable orchestra moment, Chicago trip, and any small group moment, which is awesome. That just shows the bonds, right, that they create. But also, what is being an orchestra meant to you? Orchestra gave me a home away from home. The relationships and memories that came from orchestra are all unforgettable. It was more than orchestra to me. In a way, it was a family. No matter how I was doing that day or week, I knew I had orchestra and that I would be welcomed and appreciated. And this is another student who didn't realize how much skill they had when they were here. But you really, fine musician, great violinist, and that's why I let you conduct occasionally, because I knew that the orchestra would follow you and they'd be in capable hands. And I'm so glad that you came back tonight. So thank you for all you did.
I have to say, you forgot the third musketeer, which is being rectified. Before we go,
No, I performed. Yeah, you read Bella's thing and you were like, oh yeah, he was late. That's our next one.
but it's going to be okay. Really, it's going to be okay. Yeah, we were just keeping the suspense, Alex, for everyone to know what the third musketeer. But before Alex, I just want to say, Jordan, one of my favorite summer school memories from fourth graders was you. And it was, and I'll tell you why, is because Jordan came to every summer school session with his grandmother, who dearly loves violin, and they would play together. And that to me was just amazing. That's why we play music, right?
I'm really legitimately sorry. I did not, that was not intentional.
Is this alphabetical? And I was like, wait.
I just skipped right over you.
Usually it's MC, right? But
Right.
I made before that, so like.
I was like, yeah, Nora. All right. Well, yes, this is the third musketeer of the three. Not that they're ranked in any order, just alphabetically. You're welcome. Alex, yes, sorry, getting a little, yes, I know. Whew, okay. What was being in orchestra? What did it mean to you? And he says, being part of a community. It was really fun, and I made strong connections with good friends. I totally agree. He says, thank you for all of your support. It really means a lot that you all believed in me. And his advice for underclassmen, stay in orchestra. Not every concert is going to be the most fun. I wish I would have skipped you now. And you might not like every song. You know, that's true. But it's worth it. And I agree with you 100%. So thank you so much.
Hello? Hi, I'm Katie, and I just wanted to formally present the frame to both Miss Burns and Miss Kavish, because when COVID hit last year, I hadn't even started making it, and so I had to contact everyone via Snapchat, and yeah, everyone's still in the group, most people. And so I only got to give it to Miss Kavish, and Miss Burns unfortunately couldn't be there because of COVID. And I know everyone wanted to be a part of presenting it to them. So we just wanted to say from all of us to both of you, thank you so much for everything you've done for us. And Miss Burns for always having a smile on. No matter what, even when she was having a bad day. And Miss Kavish for always being someone I could come to, and everyone else I know you were always open to talk to. And she'd say, you can come in at lunch and have lunch with me. So thank you very much, and we all love you so much.
Thank you so much for letting us do that. I think you understand, those of us who are a little bit more well-seasoned, shall I say, understand the importance of closure and having those moments. And we'll do it again with this year's class as well, but now Ms. Burns is going to talk about solo ensemble, and we'll have a special treat. One of the string quartets will be playing for you who participated in this year's solo ensemble.
So I have to say, one of the nice things about doing small group online is we worked on a lot of going solo type of theme things this year. And we worked on improvisation. And that can be really scary when you are trying to create melodies on the spot, in the moment, with other people around you. You know, I don't know if anyone has experimented with improvisation, but it can be very challenging. And the nice thing about Google Meet is you can press the mute button. And so it's perfect. It was just perfect for it. So I would play the piano, and they got to improvise and experiment. And it was really interesting because towards the end, we would do games where we would actually hear each other, and people were very, very comfortable with that. So I'm now going to have to think about how to teach that in person from now on. How do we do that? So, but we also studied solos. Since we weren't able to do chamber music, for obvious reasons, and I have to say, I want to really commend all of the students for doing that, because when we were doing that online, I could give them helpful hints, and we could talk about general things, but they really had to step up and really work out the problems themselves, and if there were technical issues or anything else. And so the amount of independent work that they did over this year was really great, and I hope all of you enjoyed those house concerts that where they were able to present their piece to you. So I wanted to recognize the students who then, well, first off, can we get a round of applause for all of those students? So we had another group of students who decided to participate in virtual solo ensemble. So it was done online, which meant that they had to do a recording. And if you're a musician, you know how challenging it is to make a recording. Because when you're in a performance, it's in the moment, you're there, and there's no do-overs. And believe it or not, the do-over is a really hard thing as a musician. Because you listen to your recording, and you're going to find, oh, I didn't like that note. Oh, I want to change that. Oh, that dynamic didn't show up. So a lot of musicians really struggle with recording. It's a lot tougher in a lot of ways. And it's usually reserved for college when you are auditioning for summer experiences or for jobs or for grad school. And these students all submitted a recording this year for virtual solo ensemble, and were really courageous that way. So I'd like to have them come out on stage, and I'd like to just formally recognize them for really, really doing a fantastic job this year, and really having the courage to be able to do that extra work and submitting it to somebody. So can we have a round of applause? So I have something for you guys that you can go ahead and take. And you are so welcome. Yes. So as they are taking their cards and their flowers, we have one quartet. And last March, right after solo ensemble, this group of gentlemen came up to me and said, "We want to form a quartet, and we really want to start working on something." And I said, "No problem, no problem." I'm super excited when that happens, always, right? And I said, "I'll just send you the list." Well, then COVID happened, and so we just got a little detoured for a little bit. But they had picked out the Dvorak American quartet, And Dvorak was conducting in New York. He didn't want to be there. He loved, which is now the Czech Republic. He lived there and he got a job offer. And he said no, and his wife said, oh, but look how much money you're going to make. And so then, oh, okay, I guess yes. So they headed out to New York, but he really missed home. And so in the summer, he knew about a Czech settlement in Spillville, Iowa. And you can actually go to the Dvorak Museum there. I've been there. And I also met the granddaughter of his secretary at a random thing in Wisconsin. So, I mean, it was a big deal that this Czech Republic composer was here and spent the summer there. And Dvorak took bird calls and folk tunes that he heard around him, and he put them into not only his New World Symphony, but also this American quartet. And these gentlemen love this quartet. I think it's perfect for spring. And they officially named themselves the Blue Sky Quartet, which I think is just perfect for these, just as Dvorak being their premier performance. They weren't able to do it for solo ensemble, but they started in April, and they've been rehearsing for tonight's program. So without further ado, and I'm not sure if they're here yet, I don't see them, but we're going to do the Dvorak, or not quickly, but we're going to play the Dvorak American String Quartet, the first movement, which is fast, but not too fast. So I'm going to go find them.
Supposed to wait 3 seconds before starting to talk. So, we are going to do senior recognition now, right? Yes? They're looking at me like, is it now? But before we do that, I actually would like to recognize the 2 seniors who received the Orchestra Department Awards. They were not able to be at the breakfast the day that the Department Awards occurred. So I would like them to hear me say these nice things about them in person. So we have 2 Orchestra Department Awards, and I have to tell you, this is just a spectacular class. Just wonderful human beings, amazing sense of community and support for each other, and it made things really difficult for Ms. Burns and I to select people because so many of them are just so deserving and just really appreciate all that you do, not only for the orchestra, but for each other, right? And all the support that you showed to us as well as your teachers. And so the first award, Orchestra Department Award, goes to a dedicated and insightful senior musician. This student has achieved a high level of technique on their instrument, as well as developed a musical sensitivity in their playing. They have played several instruments during their high school career, including cello, violin, and percussion. This student has a positive outlook on life and strongly contributes to the sense of community that has been established in the orchestra classroom. Through their involvement in various offerings of the music department, this student has grown tremendously and continues to encourage others on their musical journeys as well. Congratulations, Jack Patterson. The next recipient is an extremely hard worker who loves music and loves playing the violin. This student is dedicated to improving their musical skills and not afraid to push themselves or ask for additional help. Their confidence in both playing the violin and advocating for themselves has grown considerably since their freshman year. I know that there were moments that this student felt frustrated with the violin and the level of difficulty of the music that we were learning in class, but this student persevered. I'm so proud of the progress that this person has made over the past 4 years, and they should be too. This student truly is the epitome of tenacity. Congratulations, Estefany Herrera. All right, come on down, Ms. Burns. Yeah, all of you wrote, you too. I'm just gonna move this. Thanks, Annika.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, I just have to say, before we start, I remember this class from the 4th grade. I think it was the last year we had a 4th grade parent welcome and student welcome, where we were in the Netherwood Knoll Elementary gym, and we had the high school orchestra playing, and you were all 4th graders, and I remember this so vividly because you were like the most enthusiastic 4th graders ever. Like, I was blown away by the response when one of the music educators said, "Hello, Netherwood Knoll," and you all were just ready to play. It was just amazing, and I think that shows, just like what Ms. Kavish said, even in high school, so supportive of each other, so open to trying lots of different creative things, and it's just wonderful. So let's start with Annika Baumgart. Go ahead. Yay. I think it's no surprise that Annika's favorite composer is probably Shostakovich. And style of music in general is indie stuff, broadly alternative. And I see a very big connection between Shostakovich and that, actually. So, and I love the fact that you want to go visit London. That's wonderful. And you are going to major in communication arts at Virginia Commonwealth University. So I just want to say I love what you said about what orchestra meant to you. So I'm just going to read that. Orchestra has always been incredibly fun for me, and is the main reason that I can read music and have the basis to play some other instruments. It's also provided me with a community and a bright spot every day where I could just let go of my worries and think about music instead. Making music is a way to express myself, and I hope to keep making it some way throughout my life. So congratulations. Brown is next. I just have to say, I think, when I think of violists who play so musically and so beautifully, he brings tears to my eyes every time I hear him play. The Bruch Romance in particular, that is just incredible. And I really enjoyed working with Caden in his string quartet. There was a really, Julia, it was just a really great group. And I just remember being so impressed with the Zhao Long piece that you guys played, because it was such a difficult piece, and there was this prominent viola spot, and I thought, this student is a thinker. And I would say, yes, Caden is definitely a beautiful musician, but also a thinker. So congratulations. Selma Deposit, come on. I love that Selma's favorite composer is Fauré. And I have to say, she made a beautiful poster for the Music Circus where she gave all sorts of fun facts about Fauré. And plays beautiful elegy, if I do say it. So I think her most memorable orchestra moment was the Chicago trip, freshman year. And I love the fact that you say the place most likely to visit anywhere warm. Spoken like a true Wisconsinite, right?
Yeah, yep.
So I love your advice for underclassmen. It says, whatever you play, play confidently, and don't be afraid to be heard. And I think that's really, really important. And it's something I think Selma has done her whole 4 years here. She's always involved, and she always is there, and always trying to improve her playing and musicianship. So thank you for those wonderful words. And now Lucas Dopard, come on. So I have to say, I didn't realize that you were a Chopin fan until I read it here, and I think that's wonderful. I have to say, Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think we shared that in common. Like, I was so impressed when you came in with that t-shirt. I think it was your freshman year. It was the first year. Yeah. So, I love this. Most memorable orchestra moment, helping the summer school classes with Hector Ortega and Annika Olsen. I'm sure there's stories there that we don't have time for now. But and you're going to be attending UW Eau Claire, which is lovely. And I love this. What has being in orchestra meant to you? Being a musician, music enjoyer, has been a huge part of my identity. And I also have just loved making music in orchestra, whether it was everyday classes or big events like the Barnes and Noble holiday trip. So I think that's wonderful. So congratulations. And then we have Emma Dutcher. So Emma, I love that your favorite composers are Gershwin and Vivaldi, and I remember your beautiful cello solo you played for solo ensemble. It was wonderful. And you're going to be studying music education at UW Whitewater. Yay. I like the fact that the places that you'd like to visit is so wonderful. London, Tokyo, and New Orleans. I think there's a story there, too. So, this is the best part of what you wrote about, your most memorable orchestra moment. I don't think this happens to most people. I remember this time we were practicing something and the monthly tornado siren drill was happening while we were in class. So we tried to ignore it. when we started playing, we realized the first note of the song was the exact same pitch as the pianos up there. I don't know why, but I always remembered it because I thought it was just so funny. Wonderful. Congratulations.
Artie Fishwild. Something that I have appreciated about Artie is that she always comes to orchestra with a smile on her face, you know. And thank you for being usually the first one to laugh at my jokes, even when they're not that great. But just a very warm and sweet human being, and just a really beautiful addition to the classroom. And thank you for all that you've contributed to the orchestra. She's written some really, really insightful things here. And I love that she says, being in orchestra is honestly one of the best parts of my high school experience. I always had so much fun at the concerts and practices because it was so amazing that I was able to make music with my amazing classmates. Oh, thank you. My beyond amazing teacher, Ms. Kavish. Thank you very much. But this was kind of a theme with the first class of 2020, the theme of trying something, doing it afraid, right? And she says, for the advice for underclassmen, don't let fear stop you from stepping out of your comfort zone. Great opportunities and experiences come from the moments when you push yourself out of your comfort zone and try something new. And I couldn't agree more. Thank you for everything. Cassidy Harbansik, come on down. Cassidy is amazing. I mean, how many instruments have you learned for the pit orchestra?
I think 2 or 3.
That's it? I mean, you said, it seemed like every year she was bringing another instrument into the pit. But cello and flute and saxophone and clarinet, piccolo. Yeah. See, there's more than 2. But just a really amazing young musician, and the tenacity too. Like, I was like, well, there's 3 different instruments in this book. Are you sure you want to play all the parts? She's like, yeah, I'll do it. Can I borrow whatever to take home for the summer? I was like, yeah, okay, great. So thank you, because really an invaluable asset to the pit orchestra. She too has so many insightful things here. It's so hard to choose from, but I will read. Overall, music means the world to me, and it's become a major part of my lifestyle. My favorite part of being a music student is the inclusive and non-competitive nature of the classroom. No one wins or loses, as we all come together simply to play music in a safe place. I think that there's something very special about a group of people who participate in an activity to enlighten others and enlighten themselves, especially through the art form, as transformative and beautiful as music. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Ellie. Tyler Hine was not able to be here tonight, but he too, viola for almost all 4 years. When we went to online learning and just with COVID and everything, it was really difficult for some students to maintain all of the classes that they had in the traditional schedule that we had been operating on before COVID. And so, unfortunately, Tyler couldn't be in orchestra his last quarter, but he is too a really fine musician, plays and learns so much music by ear. I mean, really just impressive. He would sit down, many lunch periods, sit down at the piano and just play. And he would be learning songs just by listening to the YouTube videos, and I was just astounded by his efforts. And so just want to give a shout out to Tyler Hine. Stephanie Herrera. I know I already talked a little bit about Stephanie, but she too has just been a trooper. She took violin, and then she didn't take violin for a while, and then in middle school, I think, and then she came back in high school, and really works hard and just loves music, and talked to me about music and the composers she enjoyed, and often our lessons would end up with a little bit of a conversation, then, maybe playing some and talking some. But really just, like I said, you have just been a wonderful asset to the orchestra, so thank you. All right, Julia Hutchinson, come on down. Julia, too, just a wonderful human being. Love what she wrote here about music has always been my creative outlet, and orchestra has helped me channel that. It has been a space where I can express myself, process events in my life, relieve stress, and be a part of a wonderful community. The opportunity to make music with my friends and peers for the past 4 years in class has given me so much joy. I can't imagine my life without orchestra in it. And she too, the advice for underclassmen, if an opportunity comes your way, take it. It might be scary or out of your comfort zone, but no matter what happens, it will lead to a memorable experience. Thank you so much.
Phoebe Jeske. So, I just have to say, it's been such a pleasure to work with Phoebe these 4 years. I love the fact that you love alternative rock, because I know how much you love alternative rock, but I also know how much you love classical music, all sorts of genres, and I think that's really that kind of curiosity is just amazing. So, most memorable orchestra moment, I love this one. Ms. Kavish dressed as Rey from Star Wars for our movie music concert. That was really terrific. So, place most likely to visit, Italy or Central America. I'd like to learn Italian and Spanish. That's amazing. So, next year, you're going to take a gap year and then work, and then you're off to Wheaton College to study business and computer science. So it's really terrific. I love what you have said about what orchestra has meant to you, too. Music has always been an integral part of my life, and overall, I've just enjoyed getting the opportunity to make friends and build a community around music through the OHS Orchestra program. The fact that I have the opportunity to work with such wonderful people to create an emotional atmosphere for an audience continues to blow my mind. I can't wait to continue music in my future. Sarah J.P. So, Sarah is a fan of Beethoven and the classical era, which I know this from working with her. Her most memorable orchestra moment was going to Chicago. So Chicago was a huge, memorable trip. And exploring, getting to see the musical Joseph and the amazing Technicolor jacket. Yeah, and the art museum with the fish balloons to move around for moving art. I've never seen the fish balloons. I'm going to have to check that out. That's cool. So, the number one place you want to visit is Ireland. And I think that's great. You have to bring your violin with you. Maybe you can pick up some Celtic music while you're there. And Sarah will be attending University of Wisconsin-Whitewater to double major in Spanish and elementary education with a possible dance education minor. And I have to say, Sarah, that is perfect, because when I think of Sarah, I always think of how kind you are. And I just think you would make an incredible teacher. So, congratulations. Riley Kiffle. I love that you wrote, when we have the favorite composer, the first thing you wrote is, "This is hard." I totally agree with you, a fellow musician. This is probably either Gershwin, Copeland, or Borodin. And we have yet another alternative rock fan here. So, the most memorable orchestra moment was wonderful. I love this. Me and Dylan and I, were in the orchestra room during lunch or study hall, something like that. And we were making paper airplanes and tossing them. For a good part of this time, Ms. Kabish was in her office, but just as one of us threw an airplane high into the air, she stepped out right at that moment, shrieked. She thought it was a bat. And I have to say, I'm now going to read his advice for underclassmen. Oh wait, I thought you were going to say, I thought you said don't throw paper airplanes. No, you didn't. Okay, somehow in my mind. Okay, ask you the teacher. Okay, so advice for underclassmen. You don't sound as bad as you think. You just aren't playing loud enough to hear what you actually sound like. I think a teacher would say, use more bow. Yes. Use more bow, yeah. So, Riley is going to also study music education at UW-Whitewater. So, I'm so excited that we have an Oregon delegation going there this year. It's just wonderful, and it's just been such a joy. Riley has really done a lot of things where he has studied other instruments and joined other classes. So it's been a real pleasure to work with him. Katie Caselli. Wait, that was for freshman year and it's stuck. Sorry, Katie. So, I have to say, she said she loves show tunes, and I would agree with that because her, I know I keep talking about the Music Circus, but this group was so creative in that, and she loved show tunes so much, she learned by ear 4, and then she connected them into a medley. And I remember thinking, this is amazing that she's able to just put this together, and she had a wonderful chart that you made that sort of gave you cliff notes of how to do that. So that was really great. Her most memorable moment was anytime we play Music Jeopardy, there's a memorable moment in my book. So there we go. And she plans to attend Appalachian State University with a major in theater and 2 minors in dance and global studies. Wonderful. So I want to end with the advice for your underclassmen, because I think this is great. Remember all the hard work it took to get you here, but also know that nobody is ever perfect and we all mess up. Also, there will probably be at least one song that you will hate playing, but just power through. I promise it's worth it. Nice job. And then Ethan McCurdy. Ethan was part of that wonderful quartet. Oh no, a different quartet, the Foray Quartet. There was a group of, and then also the last year's quartet as well. That group was wonderful to work with too. Really great. And so, most memorable orchestra moment, taste testing bow rosin. Oh. You wanted to know. Okay. It's not good, so nobody else tried it. So, what orchestra meant to you? I think this is wonderful. A safe space to play music with my friends in a chill environment and mess up fingerships. Yes. So, I like your advice as well, which is never be afraid to play louder, and please don't procrastinate. You'll thank yourself later. Yes.
Evan Nelson, come on down. So I have to be honest, it took me almost your brother's entire freshman year to realize that that was your brother, who was also in orchestra. So it took me a little bit, but I got there, right? So I love that you are interested in traveling, China, Japan, Europe. Yes, travel. I recommend, if you can, travel, because you learn so much from visiting other countries, their culture, their people, and so bravo. I want postcards from wherever you go. And then I think it's fantastic that you are going to UW Eau Claire for biochemistry. And he says, thanks for having me in orchestra. No, thank you for being in orchestra. But yes, I appreciate the sentiment. He says, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm going to miss making music with you guys, and I will miss making music with you as well. And I have to say, I really appreciate your dry sense of humor as well, because I get it. So thanks for all your hard work. Is just a treasure, and there have been some conversations that we have had. She is so insightful and has helped me see things from a broader perspective. She's written some really beautiful things this year, especially in relationship to our culture and music project first semester, and we had some really deep conversations, and I appreciated just how open and honest she was and the things that she was willing to share. It just shows a great deal of maturity, and I appreciated that you trusted me with the things that you shared with me. She says her favorite composer is me. I don't know about that. Thank you. But arranger, I'm not too bad as an arranger. But she puts me right up there with Gabriel Fauré, so thanks for that. I appreciate that. This is hilarious. So Ellie was often on her phone in orchestra. And they think because they hold the phone behind the instrument that I don't know what they're doing. Like, nobody's chair or knees can be that interesting that they stare down for 5 minutes. So I know when you're on your cell phone, but I appreciate the remorse that you feel for it. Ellie too, like, this class, I mean, they ate up difficult music. Like, they wanted to play the hard stuff, and I'd always be like, okay. And Ellie was usually the one pushing to play the most difficult pieces. But they always pulled it off. Like, it was amazing to me how you just were willing to go for it, and then you could accomplish it in the end. So it was good that you were willing to push them a little bit, yes. All right, she has some very beautiful things in here, but I love this last part of the advice that she gives to underclassmen. I'm just gonna do like a snippet of it. It says, most of all, be kind to yourselves. Why is that so hard, right? Like, the hardest people to be kind to is often ourselves. You can only ask yourself to be better tomorrow than you were today, every day. Oh, so hiding your phone behind your cello is super obvious from the podium. You might think that you're being slick, but that's just Mrs. Kavish being really nice. Also, noise-canceling headphones are a great investment, and this is so true. Sleep is much more important than any social media post. I promise. So thank you, everyone. Regina Nolan played violin in orchestra for almost all 4 years. Cecilia Ortega, who also couldn't be here tonight, played violin and string bass. She also played string bass in the jazz band, so another real go-getter. Next up here is Annika Olsen, who is studying at Interlochen High School, which is in Michigan, so she unfortunately was not able to be here. But she has some fun things that she's written here. Her most memorable orchestra moment. There's a lot of moments about the pit orchestra, so underclassmen, you should definitely participate in string orchestra when we're doing musicals again. But most memorable orchestra moment is Miss Kavish jamming out to rock songs with the pit orchestra before the opening night of Guys and Dolls, and that was fun. Yes, it was. She says, being in orchestra has shown me how to collaborate with others and be proactive when it comes to deciding what kind of sound I want to make. And she says, thanks to all of you for being so supportive and inspiring. without you.
Uh-oh, stop.
I never would have pushed myself to go to Interlochen and decide to become a musician. So, Annika, wherever you are, thank you.
So Jack Patterson. I just love that Jack was what I call one of the solo hunters in the solo and chamber music library, meaning he has a love of music that every time I come in, oh yeah, I found this, and this. Do you have this, and this? And sure. You know, he was always an independent worker, always, and just that incredible love of music. Not only on cello, but like, can I play violin? Sure. Can I do this? Sure. I'm really amazing. So I love that you say that being a musician throughout high school has given you an opportunity to find and express yourself when other ways have failed. And I think that's amazing. So I also think, I noticed also, you said, don't waste time with people you don't want to be around. Surround yourself with good people that make you feel good and help inspire you. And I'd say that's your class right here tonight. So bravo to you, Jack. Dylan Riley. So Dylan, I have to say there's this group of cellists that I'm going to miss, and Dylan's part of it. It's not Three Musketeers, it's more like 4 or 5. But I also think that Riley and Dylan also, when they were freshmen, were always working together, and that was very challenging at first. For, as you can tell, I have trouble with names sometimes. So, and they were always so kind about it, and I think that is the thing that just amazed me and continues to amaze me about Dylan, is just how kind you are and how conscientious you are about making sure that the people around you are okay. And I think that is an incredible quality in a person. So I love this. Oh, this is why. Okay, you're about to understand my confusion between Riley and Dylan here. Most memorable orchestra moment. My most memorable orchestra moment was when Ms. Kavish understandably, swore at seeing a bird fly around her classroom. And in fact, it was really Riley Kiffel and myself and our innocent paper airplane that we had flown through the classroom door from down the hallway during lunch period. To this day, I am proud of the distance that paper airplane had flown. It was a really good paper airplane. So, and then his advice is, don't fly paper airplanes down to music hall.
Yes.
So, love it. So, place most likely to visit is New York City, and you plan to study finance at UW-Whitewater. That's wonderful. So, I just have to share what orchestra has meant to you. Music has been a way to express myself in ways that other aspects of academia lack. In regards to music composition, the work that I had done over the past year due to COVID has really emphasized just how important it is for me to continue playing in college through ensemble work, even though I'm not going specifically into music. I will be forever grateful to have started my musical endeavors in Oregon with great teachers, peers, and friends. I am truly looking forward to hauling my cello with me to college. Congratulations. And now we have Grant Wilson. Grant Grant is also part of this quartet that I think was just, you played Music Circus, you played as a quartet, and then last year, I'll never forget, because I always wanted them to go to solo and ensemble, and every year it didn't quite work out, and finally last year they went and they played beautifully, and I'm just amazed at the camaraderie that chamber music really brings out in people, and this group definitely had that. So, and Grant, I love that you love Beethoven because you think his story is really cool, and you always enjoy listening to his symphonies and other music that he created. So, and I think that's the thing I appreciate so much about you, Grant, is that you are a thinker as well, and that you really understand things in a bigger way. I have to say, I was totally shocked and moved to tears at the end when you wrote about playing guitar. I just assumed that Grant has always loved guitar, and when we were doing online learning, you could see his guitars, and I just enjoyed talking with him about guitar. But I had no idea that it was because we studied guitar as a secondary instrument that's where you found your passion for it as an instrument. So that's incredibly special and amazing. So it's just, like I said, I was trying not to cry. So I'd like to also talk about what orchestra has meant to you. And that is, it is one class throughout my high school career that I always knew I would have a great time in and enjoy going to. It has also helped me in picking up other areas of music besides violin, such as playing guitar or bass. Congratulations. Okay, and last but not least, Brody Wise. If you know Brody, you know that video games are an amazing passion and composition. And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see his name on some major video games in the next couple of years. And you heard it from me, okay? Because it's just amazing what he's able to do and how thoughtful he is about the colors of sound and the amount of detail that you go into when you're composing. And he arranged for the poetry concert, a video game, string quartet which was played, and you arranged a bass and violin medley of video game music. So, and when you were not able to be here for the Music Circus, you made sure you had your arrangements playing in the foyer during it. So I can't speak highly enough about your compositions. So he also is always stepping up when I needed help on short term. We were doing rock and roll and improvisation, and I needed some help with finale, and Brody was there, and he did everything with perfect detail, and it was just amazing. So, I probably won't tell you what his favorite style of music is. You probably know now. But he's going to attend NATC for 2 years, and then go to UW-Whitewater for video game development. So I love this. His advice for underclassmen is, overthinking things tends to make things a good deal harder than they actually are. Good life advice. Congratulations.
So I know you all know this because we went through this once before, but they don't know this yet. So we have a small gift for you on the table over there. It is a leather keychain that says OHS Orchestra on one side, and then has the GPS coordinates of the orchestra room on the other side. Because we spend so much time there making music, and I just love you guys. I love last class too, but we wanted you to have something to take with you when you go on that will always remind you of your time in orchestra. So make sure you grab one of the bags, and there's chocolate in there too.
And I have been chosen to speak on behalf of the 2021 seniors. I don't know what I can even say. Like, there's no words to express how thankful we are for everything Miss Kavish and Miss Burns have done for us over the past 4 years through things like the pit and solo and ensemble and all the projects Miss Burns puts on every year, like Music Circus and stuff like that. And I especially wanted to talk about this because I'm so grateful, and I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of everyone when I say this, I'm so grateful that we were able to have this tonight and bring all the 2020 seniors back and, play all together one last time. And I know it was a crappy day outside, but I'm kind of glad we got to perform in the PAC for our last concert because it's a really full circle moment. I can't state enough how thankful we are for both of you and how much we've enjoyed the past 4 years making music with you guys. So we have a few things for you. There's some flowers and some goodie bags and we made a poster. We hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, just talking about the poster, sorry. So, we know it's a tradition to make a photo frame with all of our pictures, and unfortunately, it is not done yet. So we made this instead. We all wrote our names on it. It's for you and Miss Burns. So, that is until it comes. Hopefully, we'll get it to you for
Sometime.
a few years from now. Don't worry, we'll get it around.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And now we're going to hopefully make you cry a little bit. No. This next song that we're going to do, called And So It Goes by Billy Joel. I have to admit, when we were choosing music for this concert and I was listening to a variety of songs on different sheet music websites, I came across this song, and I love Billy Joel, and he wrote more than the Piano Man. But I was listening to this and hearing, listening to the string version while the YouTube video played, and hearing him sing the words in my head, and I have to admit, I had an ugly cry. I had a very ugly cry, just thinking about this moment. And I asked them if they would be willing to play this song on the last concert as a tribute, and I asked them if they'd play it for me, and they said yes, so thank you so much. But so we hope you enjoy Billy Joel's And So It Goes, and then we're gonna dive right into More Than a Feeling and bring out some of last year's seniors and the sophomores and the drum set and all that for a real big ender. So we hope you enjoy. Sophomores, class of 2020, come on out. All right, get out your cell phones, put your camera, your lights on or whatever, and go ahead and hum along to More Than a Feeling. Thanks so much again for coming out tonight.
Thank you.